Hello, welcome to yeah, this is all I do on the channel. Barely Default. Hello, my name is Barely Default. No, my name is Mickey Joe, and I am doing another Barely Default video. As you can see from the title and thumbnail, it is the ranged update. So there's a lot of new variants. I don't know, it's a crazy amount of work. This is like 2 weeks of this every free hour that I had, that I wasn't, I guess showering or taking a shit or something, or like getting groceries. I was spending on these models, and you might not, you'll see in a minute why. I first wanted to go over some new melee variants I added, because I guess I didn't add all of the Minecraft Dungeons variants yet. I guess I missed some. Here's the Gordian Hammer, which is just a two-faced jack-o'-lantern on both sides. It has a jack-o'-lantern and just like a big mauler, like a big hammer. It's based on concept art. I don't think it's actually in the game. No, it's not actually in the game. This hammer is, however, in Minecraft Dungeons. I somehow missed it. It wasn't on the wiki page for all the weapons, so I missed it. But then I saw it on a different wiki page. I was like, wait a minute, I missed this weapon. So yeah, 2 new melee variants added, which isn't super spectacular, but I just wanted to get it out of the way. So we can move on to my cool-ass ranged weapons, which I'm really happy about. Let's first go over the bows, and you'll get a glimpse of why this took so long. Because it's not just the flat sprites. It is, as you may know, in my resource pack, my bows have 3D arrows. You can see it right there. It's right there. It's a whole model, and I wanted to do that for all of the Dungeons bows also. So that means that every bow needs a custom model, custom UV settings, custom way of displaying. Custom way of everything needs to be custom made. So it takes a lot of time per bow, and the crossbows are even worse because they have way more modeling involved in them there. Because I added 3D details to my regular crossbow also. See, it has a handle, it has a 3D arrow on it. It has 2 layers of the crossbow texture. There's the bar at the top, and then there's the actual base of the thing. So my crossbows were really advanced before Minecraft Dungeons ever came out. Like, I never anticipated that I would have to backport this amount of detail, or like, I guess, update, forward port this amount of detail to all the other crossbows, but that's what I had to do. So I knew this was a crazy commitment of time, but I also knew this was a one-time thing I had to do to like make my pack really fucking cool forever, basically, right? And until they cancel Java Edition, which will, inevitably happen, I fear. But for now, you can rename your bow to any of these variants. Also have a chest, so you can see them all nicely displayed. Yeah, and that is really cool. I mean, there's little details like an extra feather on the Hunter's Promise, I changed some details, like the soul bow now has a soulfire string, because there's a nocturnal bow, which is just basically a soul bow, but with like little spikes on it. And then there's the, so and this used to be the palette of the soul bow, right? Like this color blue. So I changed the soul bow to have a different color, so there's more variety in your options, because I don't like, if I'm adding variants, I'll tweak palettes and like, even designs from Dungeons if I can make it, better. I like the bows. This has my golden palette, so it looks a bit better. It's so cool. I love, like, in your offhand, my bows have a custom way of displaying. You can see it right here. For me, it's the main hand, because I use my left hand as my main hand, and in the right hand, for most people's main hand it will look like this, and if you have it in your offhand, it looks really cool like this. And for a lot of the big bows, I think it's just the coolest thing ever. Just seeing the model like this and just seeing it change, having all the 3D details. One of my favorites is the web bow, because it has the cool string, obviously, the spider string that pulls backs. So yeah, just a bunch of cool bow variants you could play around with. There's a short bow if you want like a simple, smaller variant, and then, there's like a bunch of goofy ones I don't really see anyone using that I just added for the sake of, making it all consistent. Who the fuck is gonna use a bubble burster? But they're out there, you can have all these options now, which I think is really cool. I mean, that's largely the spirit of my pack anyways, like, Mojang said that they cared about expression. I mean, they added armor trims, which was awesome. I fucking love armor trims. But, like, I care about expression, and this is what I add, right? You can just... And this is super accessible. Like, I have all these colorful netherite variants, but that's not really accessible, because netherite is kind of a high tier to get, which is nice, very rewarding. For me, it increases the reward of getting to the netherite tier, You get to netherite, and then you suddenly have access to all these colorful fucking variants, So that's like an extra reward built in. But this is nice also because it's just wood and string and some iron, for crossbows. So super accessible, colorful renames that I think players are going to have a lot of fun with. And I get to move on to my crossbows, which is my absolute favorite of all the renames I've done. This is also the one that took the most time. Like I measured out like every crossbow variant because of all the states that it has. Like you have to pull it back. It has like 3 pullback states, and it has a state for an arrow. It has a state for a firework also. Let's just get a firework, I guess. There you go. So every bow needed a model with a firework, and I obviously... Oh, I didn't do it right. I need to have it in the offhand. Alright. I know how to play Minecraft. Even after adding like 39 bows and 33 crossbows, I still fuck up sometimes. So yeah, it has a 3D firework also. A state for every bow. So this was, or every crossbow. So this is so much fucking work. But I'm really happy that it all worked out. There's a couple of cool... I mean, look, all of them just have 3D details. Like the 2 layers of them, and then the 3D... weapons on them also. Like let's just get a normal arrow. I think it looks a bit better. Fireworks kind of silly. There you go. Look at how cool this is. Super unique crossbow variant. It has, look at that. Oh man, just I can't believe I did all this, you know. And the thing is, it seems like this would be kind of a repetitive task. Like you just copy files, change textures, you know, copy them straight from Dungeons, and then, you know, I guess do a big Control-C search and replace in Notepad++. But that's not actually the case. Like these crossbows and these bow variants take like a lot of, you know, manual placement, like a lot of thought put into it. Again, I did the Soul Crossbow has a custom palette versus the Feral Soul Crossbow, because the Feral Soul Crossbow in Dungeons is just a version of the Soul Crossbow with like little spikes on it, so that's super lame. So I decided to give the Feral Crossbow the same palette that's in Dungeons, give our Soulfire palette to the Soul Crossbow, and also added some details to the base of it. So just to make you know, the variety. The point is variety, right? So you know, if you know, having similar variants is super lame. Also, the Exploding Crossbow was just a regular crossbow with like green bands around it, and then we already have the Slicer if you want a green crossbow. So I just, you know, styled after TNT. You know, because having it being named the Exploding Crossbow makes sense in Minecraft Dungeons, because there, you know, you have exploding arrows, but this is not explosive, so it's called the Exploding Crossbow, and it just has green bands around it. Super lame. So I gave it the palette of TNT, because it's exploding, you know. It's a unique color variant, you know. Fuck it. You gotta take some creative liberties with all this stuff, you know, to make it maximum fun for everyone. Also some palette tweaks. The Harp Crossbow in this case uses my golden palette to make it consistent with everything else. I think it's a really nice palette, and it just works great on this crossbow also. As you'll notice, or have noticed, the arrows on my crossbows are straight up. But there's a few crossbow designs that are in Minecraft Dungeons that actually already have more 3D details. It's specifically the auto crossbow, which is just a recolor of the wrapped crossbow, and then the butterfly crossbow. Butterfly crossbow might be my favorite because the amount of details it has. See that? And I just wanted to point out that the arrow on these 3 variants is flat instead of straight up, which just fit the 3D design better the way it is in Minecraft Dungeons. It's also unique, you know, more options. Again, is fun. So these arrows are just flat in the quiver, I guess, or in the, I don't know, the magazine of the crossbow, you know, on the rail. I don't know how crossbows really work, but that doesn't really matter. So yeah, just wanted to point out these cool little 3D details. The auto crossbow has a different palette. It has my iron palette, and then it has a blinking light on it, which I guess you can see a little bit on the, if it turns around. There you go. One of the lights is blinking. See that? It's more obvious. Let's actually, fuck it. Let's make it. Keep shooting off my clock that's inside of it, because I keep using an arrow to fire the button and I keep missing, I guess. Wait, did I really miss there? I don't think I missed. That's okay. There you go. Yeah, emissive maps for the bows and the crossbows where they seem accurate, you know, or well, you know, and then this light, this little lamp that blinks. This is a bit more obvious because it's also an emissive texture. So there you go. A variant that's not actually in Dungeons, but it is inspired a little bit. I mean, it's inspired by concept art by Mariana Salimena, is her name, which is supposed to be like a Pride of the Piglins variant, which has cool cogs, just like the cog crossbow. And with my 3D details, the cogs turn. You see that? It's just a fun little detail. And they turn in Dungeons also, every time you like pull the crossbow. But it's just more relevant when they're 3D, the cogs. So I think that's a really cool design choice from me to make those 3D. And of course from the Minecraft Dungeons team to have them be rotating in the first place, have a crossbow with cogs. It's a great design. And then I added a new crossbow variant of the Pride of the Piglins variant. It's called the Great Hog's Glory, which has a lava string, a bit of a different design. Same palette basically, except for the cogs are made of netherite. And then it has the gem, the lava gem in the front, just floating, I guess. And then, you know, obviously the clock's turn, and it's based on concept art. And it's just like a extravagant variant for you to fuck around with, you know. Is it in there already? Yeah, it is. All right, great, fucking love it. So yeah, the ranged update. I mean, you get why it's called the ranged update, right? I mean, this is huge. I feel like, I mean, how cool is this? You can even have little baby ones, little small crossbows. Oh yeah, I changed the name. This is actually called the dual crossbow, like dual, like two of something. A dual, That's two of something, right? Dual. Anyways, these are actually in Minecraft Dungeons. These are crossbows that you dual wield, right? Dual. That's why they called the dual crossbow, and I changed the duel, like dueling someone, which is kind of confusing. I realize now, like explaining all this. I mean, I assume most people don't actually know what they're called. They'll probably they'll learn the name from my pack instead of vice versa. But just like something I want to note, because it's not actually a two-handed crossbow in Minecraft Dungeons, or like in my pack. It's just a regular crossbow, and it's just very tiny. It's very cute. I like it a lot. Yeah, dual, just fuck it. This is similar, and it makes more sense than dual. Dual, this is super confusing. I shouldn't have fucking gone into this, because this is super confusing to explain. I'll just show off these baby crossbows, though, or like these smaller ones. The baby crossbow is really cute. It's pink also. I imagine this will be a big favorite of players. And then the spellbound crossbow is like a bit of a tougher variant, I guess, of the baby crossbow, which I like. It's just cute. They're smaller. I like it. Variety, you know. And really that's it for this update. There's a lot of stuff to play around with. The Void Collar, which is a really fun variant that defies the laws of physics, which I think was a cool design from Minecraft Dungeons team, obviously. I mean, these are mostly not my design. Not at all. I mean, my tweaks and my take on things with the 3D details, but you know, I don't want to take like too much creative credit for all this stuff. Even though most of this stuff still takes tweaks and palette tweaks to make it more consistent everywhere, and obviously the implementation is really impressive. But I just wanted to point out, you know, like people have even told me like, hey, that you stole that bow from New Default Plus, you know, because they did the dungeon variant before I did. Sea of Pixels did, which is silly because, you know, they also didn't make it. So I just wanted to clarify, I'm not the artist who made the designs of these. I'm just porting it all because I like consistency and I want everything to be canon in my version of our version of Minecraft, which is Java Edition. So that's really it. Pretty short video, but I've been really fucking busy with all this. It's wild that it's over now. I was really in a state of just like, you know, focusing on this until it was ready, and now it is. So get the pack and subscribe to my channel. Tell your friends. Little short video for them to consume. You know, if you want to help me out. Shorter videos to share are good, right? Because then they get a sense of my personality instead of having to be like, yo, check out this pack creator. He made a 40-minute video. Good luck committing to this channel. So yeah, shorter video is good, and that's really it. I mean, you know, subscribe, all the shit. You know what I want from you. And thanks for watching, and get the pack. Yeah, bye.